RFK for Department of Health and Home. Dude. Health and Human Services. Holy moly. What a horrifying reality we exist under. I cannot begin to explain to you how devastating this is. A man who is an anti-vaxxer who also had some really interesting takes about Jewish people and what they were doing with the Chinese in the development of the COVID coronavirus, which suspiciously enough, according to the ADL, doesn't read as anti-Semitic. I don't know why. Maybe because he's super pro-Israel. That's the other wonderful aspect of RFK's insane and rather colorful history is that he has also said COVID-19 was genetically engineered to spare Jews and the Chinese. Not just all Jews, though. Ashkenazi Jews specifically, I believe, is what the quote was.
Bioweapons. I know a lot now about bioweapons because I've been doing a book on it for the past 2.5 years, and the technology that we now have to develop these microbes, we've put hundreds of millions of dollars into ethnically targeted microbes. The Chinese have done the same thing. In fact, COVID-19, there's an argument that it is ethnically targeted. COVID-19 attacks certain races disproportionately. The races that are most immune to COVID-19
definitely, man, definitely. The races that are most immune to COVID-19 are
the structure of the most immune to COVID-19 are because of the structure of the genetic structure genetic differentials among different races of the receptors of the ACE2 receptor. COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
Sick. If you recall, I covered this at the time, and we made a lot of jokes about it. Like, have you ever met an Ashkenazi Jewish person in your life? Okay. And many other hilarious dunks on this fucking take, which is insane. COVID being a genetically engineered bioweapon that spares Ashkenazi Jews and the Chinese is laughably anti-Semitic. It reaches the level of holy shit, what the fuck are you saying, to, oh my God, you are the most insane anti-Semitic person, to, it's actually kind of funny how stupid you are. Now, I can't even fucking joke about it now for two reasons. One, because everyone is up my asshole to be like, oh, I got him, Hasan, you're anti-Semitic. I'm going to clip you out of context. But also because he's now in charge of the HHS. All of a sudden, things when he is not even within striking distance of any sort of government regulatory agency that you could laugh at are no longer a laughing matter. He was approved, not yet, but I think the Trump administration is looking for a method to basically avoid the Senate's advice and consent responsibility and do mass recess appointments. Just get it done through the recess process. I think that's what they're looking at right now. There's a lot of conflicting views between these cabinet members. Some people hate Jewish people. Some love Israel. Some of them are RFK Jr. No, there is one thing that unites them. First of all, everyone is pro-Israel. Don't be ridiculous now. Hate Jews, love Jews, are a Jew, is not a Jew, doesn't matter. They all love Israel. That's number one. Number two, they all hate Muslims. Okay? These are some very important uniting principles. And last but not least, and this is the most important aspect of the cabinet, they are all diehard loyalists to Donald Trump. Anyway.
But we don't know whether it was deliberately targeted that or not, but there are papers out there that show the racial and ethnic differential impact to that. We do know that the Chinese are spending hundreds of millions of dollars developing ethnic bioweapons, and we are developing ethnic bioweapons. That's what all of those labs in the Ukraine are about.
Dude, he is so insane, dude. God damn it, dude. What are we doing? What are we fucking doing, dog? Holy shit, we are so cooked. Oh my God, this country is in the pooper, okay? RFK Jr., one of the most anti-science figures in the world, will oversee a vast bureaucracy with a discretionary budget of nearly $150 billion annually and a mandatory budget of nearly $2 trillion. HHS and its various agencies have profound regulatory powers that impact the healthcare and of not only hundreds of millions of Americans, but also the global healthcare community. The following agencies will be under his control as Secretary of Health and Human Services: Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Food and Drug Administration, National Institutes of Health, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, Health Resources and Services Administration, Administration for Children and Families, Administration for Community Living, Indian Health Service, Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality. When RFK was running for president, he said he would stop research on drug development and infectious diseases for 8 years.
NIH, my first week, I'm going to call all the division heads and I'm going to call all the bureau chiefs. And I'm going to say, we're going to give drug development and infectious disease a break, a little bit of a break for about 8 years. And we're going to study chronic disease.
Oh my God. Maybe the U.S. will have a bunch of brain drain in the health services. I think one of the wildest parts about this is that this is America cucking itself with its refusal to acknowledge any of the underlying material harm. We are bouldering towards like this fascist ANCAP dystopia, right? Anarcho-capitalist dystopia. And in that process, America's just like fucking itself over in the long term. Any country that has even a little bit of responsibility to governance is going to cook our shit, okay? Especially if you're a country that's like uniparty like China and they have like long-standing, decades-long policies that they're implementing. Like these sorts of things are very important, very consequential for the future prospects of nations. America, on the other hand, is so short-term profit motive invested that they just can't see anything else. And we're basically actively destroying the country from within. This is why I used to always say, like, the Republican Party is the greatest threat, the greatest terroristic threat to America and perhaps the entire globe. Democrats are a close second. And that the likes of Osama bin Laden or any arch terrorist could never imagine the amount of damage that the Republican Party will do to the nation and also the world as a whole. And now we're there. We're literally there. It's so fucking wild. Here is Trump's transition co-chair, Howard Lutnick, lying 2 weeks ago about RFK's potential job in the cabinet.
Ability to do Doge. He and I worked that out together and we structured that.
But would he actually come into the government? Because, I mean, he'd have to divest. It would be quite tricky.
He's not coming into the government. He can't sell SpaceX
He's not going
and
to
Tesla. No. So what he's going to be adjacent to it, and writing software for the government and then giving the software to the government and helping the government. It's going to be amazing.
One other person who was on stage recently and was talking about coming into the administration is RFK Jr. He said that Trump has promised him control of the public health agencies, HHS, which would be also, CDC, FDA, USDA, all of these agencies. Is that true? Has Trump promised him basically the HHS job?
So I spent 2.5 hours this week with Bobby Kennedy Jr. and it was the most.
Dude, the idea of Elon Musk writing software is so laughable. These people are so deluded. Like, what software has Elon Musk ever written, dude? What are you talking about? I don't even know if these guys believe it. Maybe they do. I guess people believe that shit. They think like he's a actual fucking engineer. People that say PayPal don't know that all of the fucking coding that he did for what came before PayPal, or all the software engineering that he did before PayPal, was so bunk and so bad that they had to rewrite everything. And not only did they have to rewrite everything, like one of the primary functions of like online banking, it failed to do that. Okay. People could just like access your wallet. It was so bad that they had to push him out. It was so bad that they had to buy him out, dude.
What are you hearing from your sources about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Being picked to be head of the Department of Health and Human Services.
Look, it's another example of you better take Donald Trump at his word.
Yeah, he's been saying this. It's not a surprise in terms of he likes Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Correct. And Senator John Thune, the new majority leader, has his hands full. He does not want to look at his phone again today. I mean, it was Matt Gaetz yesterday and now this. I think it's important, though, to now see how the Republicans in the Senate handled this. They cannot claim to have buyer's remorse. They were all in on this. One Republican source said to me, I'm not sure they will be able to reject all of them, meaning you have all of these controversial picks. It's not just one. And another senior Republican said to me, no one should be surprised. This is Donald Trump 2.0. It's a new kind of chaos, but Trump feels emboldened. He simply doesn't care about the rest of the party. It's all about him, and we're expected to be loyal. It's a one-way street.
Yeah, just to remind people, the head of the Department of Health and Human Services in the first term was a respected Republican member of the House, Dr. Tom Price, who was a physician.
Right.
Former Congressman Dent, I want to play something that RFK Jr., he was asked about his expertise. He is obviously, Kennedy, not a scientist. He is not a doctor. He does not have any degrees in this stuff. So Smirkanish, who has a show on CNN on Saturdays, asked him, well, what's your expertise? Take a listen.
Because I've spent a lot of time studying and writing books,
right.
And litigating these issues, I have a very detailed domain knowledge of these areas that make it very, very difficult to defend orthodoxies because I know the area so well. So yeah, it is almost, particularly on vaccines, it's almost impossible for anybody to interview me.
So he wrote a story for Salon.com and Rolling Stone magazine about vaccines back in 2003, 2004. Rolling Stone and Salon had to retract it. It's been disappeared from the Rolling Stone website because it was so false. Just because somebody writes something down doesn't make it true.
Well, it just seems like there's a war on expertise and science or experience. I mean, it's not just RFK Jr. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, the science of vaccines, I thought, was settled a long, long time ago, and we're having this debate. But, look at Matt Gaetz. What qualifies him to be head of the Justice Department?
At least he's a lawyer.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying every day the standards get a little lower.
Hegseth at defense, again, good service, but this is no Richard Perry or Bob Gates or Jim Mattis. We expect people, with a lot of gravitas. And, Tulsi Gabbard, I'm a friend of Tulsi Gabbard's. But, there are going to be red flags about her relationships with Syria and Russia. And so it just seems like Trump is being awfully defiant. He doesn't care about expertise, or in this case, medical science. And so that's what's so troubling about this. And I suspect there's going to be a lot of pushback. And some of these nominations are going to have to be withdrawn.
We're so fucking cooked. He did it. Do you think it's strategic? Like, nominate a bunch of crazies just to make a few getting through seem like a compromise? No, dude. That's not... Dude, the problem is you think these guys are doing 4D chess. This is something that a lot of people did back in the day as well. A lot of Trump supporters would do that. They'd be like, oh, when he wrote Covfefe, he was actually doing 5D chess. And the media also kind of went along with it as well. No, what you see is what you get. They're not playing chess. They're playing checkers, okay? It's a direct through line. There is no convoluted, complicated reasoning for why they're doing this, okay? He does not give a shit. I can't begin to explain this to you. He does not give a shit. These guys do not care. There is no secret reasoning behind this, okay? People are saying like, oh, well, maybe Matt Gaetz is a trial balloon. It's like, no, it's not. He just wants a person that is easily blackmailed and loyal to him in that position. And I'm willing to bet that the more shit comes out about Matt Gaetz, the more they'll push for it. I would be very surprised if like the media pressure and the public pressure on Matt Gaetz actually causes them to stand down. Because for Trump, the backlash is important, okay? It's about overcoming said backlash to show that he can do it. Do you understand? Cognitive behavioral therapy and Jory are just cut off in traffic. Think positively. He's probably in a rush for a reason. Maybe he's late for a job interview. Maybe his wife is giving birth. Me, I'm the king of the highway. That's it. So like when Ezra Klein says the Gates nomination is so off the wall that I half believe he's sacrificial, so Senate Republicans will give an easier time confirming all the other questionable picks, having shown their independence by icing Gates. No. There is no convoluted, complicated reason. What you see is what you get, okay? That's precisely what it is. I don't even think they give a shit. I don't even think they care about, like, what if people won't allow us to put Matt Gaetz into that position? It's like, no, it's more so about, like, Trump pushing through regardless, okay? This is a man who already was president for 4 years. This is a man who tried to overturn the Democratic elections results in 2020. He knows what not to do. And he's vindictive. He's malicious. He's narcissistic. He knows not to repeat the same mistakes. No more establishment Republicans. No more playing ball. You force them to do your bidding. The cruelty is the purpose. The insanity is the purpose. Ultimately, loyalty above all else. Because if you have people who want to defend institutions or care about the integrity of certain things, and they do not have loyalty above all else, those people, like they did, will become naysayers, okay? And you don't want that. That's the whole point. He doesn't want a leaky faucet like he had last time around, where members of his cabinet and people were constantly fucking chirping to the media and undermining the things that he wanted to do. That's why the general appointment board is also significant for him. He wants to eliminate any kind of potential disloyalty. And in many instances, if you want to fuck up the country, yeah, you're going to have people who are still invested in protecting some of these institutions. If you care about the military, you're going to be like, oh, fuck that. I'm not doing that. That's crazy. I'm going to actually go to the media and I'm going to talk about how you're fucking crazy. He doesn't want that. Competence in that situation is actually going to undermine your chances of becoming appointed. Okay?